Alan West wrote a bizarre and very confused op-ed on his website about how Obama is actually bending over backwards to help the Islamic State in Iraq. In other words, he's saying that Obama is sympathetic to ISIS, the jihadists. You lost me at your title. Like, that's it. I don't even need to hear the rest of your argument because you're so far gone that it's not even... Like, the only reason we're even discussing this is for you guys to get a kick out of how insane Alan West is. So I proceed. He says, quote, "Why wouldn't the Obama administration allow Kurdish Peshmerga members to come to America and receive flight training so they could be given quality helicopter gunships and destroy ISIS? Can anyone explain what the strategy and objective here is in lifting this ban with a nation that is or should be on the terrorist watch list?" Look, I already don't know what you're talking about. Every time we've armed anybody in Iraq, it's come back to bite us in the ass. In fact, that's how ISIS got their weapons, is we left behind a lot of our armament and weapons and Humvees in Iraq when we left after the war, right? And then they moved in from Syria and they said, thanks, we'll take it now. So now we're blowing up our own shit, right? But what's this genius's response? Well, why are we not? We should arm the Kurdish people and train them with fighter jets and whatnot. But we already have, what was the story recently from Iraq? There are fighter jets that we gave, Afghanistan, and they're just sitting in the desert. And they're like, yeah, the Americans gave us these fighter jets, and they didn't train anybody to actually be a pilot, and nobody knows how to work them. And we also don't have maintenance crews. So you want the same thing to happen, Alan West, but you want that to happen with Iraq now and with Kurdish fighters. And then also, let's pause for a second. If Obama did that and armed Kurds and, trained them, et cetera, then again, you would make the same argument that he's helping terrorists. Now, why do I say that? Because the PKK, the Kurdish Workers' Party, right, they're considered terrorists in the U.S. because they fight with Turkey, who's our ally, right? So if he trained the Kurds, if Obama trained the Kurds, you would say, oh, Obama's helping terrorists. But Obama doesn't train the Kurds, and you still say, oh, Obama's helping terrorists, because this means he's trying to help ISIS by not training the Kurds. It never ends. No matter what he does, he gets criticized. Okay, he continues, quote, "Sorry, but I can only explain this one way. Barack Hussein Obama is an Islamist in his foreign policy perspectives and supports their cause." That's right, Obama supports ISIS. He loved it when they severed the head and showed it on TV. He was at home showing Michelle, like, oh, look at this deer. Isn't that great? God, you're so stupid, Alan West. You're so stupid. He says, you can go back and listen to his 2009 speech in Cairo where Muslim Brotherhood associates were seated front and center. He never... What did he say? I'm Islamic. Long live jihad! Is that what he said in the speech? Is that what he said? Because you're saying he's with ISIS. That's what he would have to say if he's with ISIS. And now it's Muslim Brotherhood. Notice how he did the bait and switch? He's like, ISIS now, no, Muslim Brotherhood. For those of you who don't know, the Muslim Brotherhood has sworn off violence a long time ago. Maybe there's some rebel factions within the Muslim Brotherhood that are violent. But if you learn the history of the Muslim Brotherhood, as I did recently, there was a great documentary on PBS about Egypt under Mubarak and then Morsi and now under Sisi. And what they said is al-qaeda actually came into existence because they got too radical and the Muslim Brotherhood said, you're out of here, son. We're not with you. So to say like, oh, look at, he's on the side of the Muslim Brotherhood, that's not like a bad thing. That's not, it's not like saying he's with the Taliban or he's with al-Qaeda or he's with ISIS. That's like saying he's with somewhat moderate Muslims. Again, I mean, for fuck's sake, learn history. Morsi was in the Muslim Brotherhood. Right? You might disagree with how he governed, but he's not the one that did the massacre of the protesters in the street. That was Sisi, who's not in the Muslim Brotherhood. Again, he doesn't know anything, but he's talking about shit. He's not done yet. He says, quote, all the circumstantial and anecdotal evidence points to that conclusion. The pivot away from the Middle East seems to be nothing more than an opportunity to enable Islamists and their goals. Anyone supporting this Libyan ban being lifted is indeed an enemy of this state. Now Libya's in there somehow? I honestly think Alan West knows nothing about the Middle East. Because we got Kurds in Iraq, we got Egypt and the Muslim Brotherhood, and now we got Libya. He's just throwing around ISIS. He's just throwing around terms that he thinks sound scary to his fucking old, white, stupid audience. Like, Muslim-sounding things! but they're all distinctly different, and they all are in a different place, and they all stand for different things. Does he even know the difference between a Sunni and a Shiite? I doubt it based on this. And then look, the final point I'll make on this is, Alan, you're arguing that Obama is on the side of ISIS as he's bombing ISIS. He's bombing them. He bombed them and got the Yazidis off the mountain, right? The Yazidis, the religious minority that ISIS was beheading them because they said, you believe in the devil. They don't. They believe in 7 angels and a peacock god or something like that, right? Religious minority. But we bombed them to help the Yazidis, and we bombed them to get rid of their Humvees and all the stuff they took from us, right? And also I think it has to do with the oil, because they're making $3 million a day in oil because they seized fields in Syria and Iraq. But either way, he's bombing them. So how can he be with them if he's bombing them? If he agrees with them, he sure does have a funny way of showing it.